Hey, what's up, all you artist studs? Today we have something interesting from the good old ChatGPT. We're going to talk a little bit about how do you find your voice as a visual artist? Isn't that just a big subject? Isn't that one of those things we all have on our mind as artists? Of course we do. You have to. If you don't have that on your mind, then you're not really an artist and you should just give up. Okay, maybe not that far, but you got to be thinking about your voice as a visual artist. You have to have a unique voice, just like we all have fingerprints. We all have a unique voice. So you should be thinking about this subject very intently. Now, before we get into this, really quick, I have to mention that I do have a Patreon account, and within that Patreon account are a bunch of tutorials. I have art downloads, all kinds of things that you will find very useful. The tutorials are going to help you with every aspect of your oil painting practice if you're an oil painter. If you're not an oil painter, maybe go find the medium that you need. Don't check out my Patreon account if you're an acrylic painter. I probably won't be as helpful, but if you want to become an oil painter, jump back over to my Patreon account. You'll learn all kinds of neat tricks, all kinds of things. You will definitely be a better artist if you check out all of my tutorials. So go over there. You'll have fun. It's a good time. Now, let's get back to ChatGPT. The first thing on ChatGPT's mind when it comes to how to find your voice as a visual artist is exploring different mediums. Seems pretty obvious, doesn't it, to explore different mediums to find your voice? Well, to find your voice, I don't know if mediums are really the key ticket. I think people could find their voice through about any medium. If you had some dirt and some water, you could probably get your voice heard. But I would say, since we have all these mediums around us, we might as well check them all out. So check out the pencils, check out the watercolors, oil, acrylic. I love oil. I'm a big oil fan. Of course, when I was younger, all the way up until I was 22, I was big into just pencil drawing. It wasn't until I made the switch to paint that I really had to start thinking about color, but all that helped me express my voice a little bit better. So check all those out. That's number one, real easy. The second one, study art history. I guess that's okay. If you like history, go for it. I'm not a big history person. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not huge into the art history or history in general. I do try to learn about painters of the past. Don't get me wrong. I know a decent amount about some of those artists from the past that are dead now. But for me, I personally really enjoy checking out the current day artists, the ones that are pushing the trends in new directions. That's what I'm about. So I'd say check out the history, but also check out the current day people, the ones that have already looked at all that history and have put it into the work. You're going to learn a lot about both. So do some history, do some current day people, mix it all together. You're going to be okay. The next one on the list is self-reflection. Well, this one's a little deep. I think self-reflection is very important. Nothing trivial about that one. Reflecting on who you are, reflecting on your experiences, all the things that made you, you. Reflect on those, put them in your artwork, and you'll make a much more powerful piece of artwork, a much more unique piece of artwork. If you think about all the things that make you, you. Think about something traumatic that happened. Think about the darkest moment in your life. Think about the happiest moment and decide what angle from your life you want to put into your work. And there's so many different angles out there. You can think about the darker side, the brighter side. Maybe it's a mix of both. I mean, there's so many different ways to reflect on your past and put them in your work. The next one, identify themes. Okay, let's see here. What's this one saying here? Consider the reoccurring themes or subjects that interest you. Okay, that's what ChatGPT says here. That makes sense. I kind of just touched on that with the self-reflection. So by reflecting on what has happened in your life, you're going to narrow down the themes that interest you. So always, I think this goes into a lot of the art that you already like. So what art do you like looking at? That probably is a good indication of what themes you might want to touch on. Okay, that was number 4. Let's go to number 5. Experiment with style. Oh yeah, you got to do this. This is kind of right there with the mediums and styles. All of it kind of comes together. For me, experimenting with style was a big thing that I did all the way through especially through my 20s, 30s. I'm 44 now. But when I switched over to color, just figuring out my style was very difficult. I started from the ground up, learned the color theory, color harmony, all those things. I was really big into just learning color, but that wasn't really my style. I was just figuring out the medium. But getting into style, like how your brush strokes look, do you want it to be darker or lighter? What kind of compositions do you like? There's so many things that go into figuring out your style. But again, this goes back to the last one. Check out the artists that you like. This is going to help you a lot. Go online, go to Instagram. Instagram is filled with artists. Look at what their styles are. Try not to copy anybody too much because that's just not the way to go. Don't copy people, but use what they have to help you out. Put all these artists together. Put them in a funnel. Whatever comes out the other end of that funnel, that's probably going to be some variation of of what your style is, because I can pinpoint 20 artists easily that influence my work, but you'll never know which one is really dominating because I take a little bit from a bunch of them. The next one here is create a series. Yes, definitely create a series of paintings. If you're going to figure out what your style is supposed to be or what you're passionate about, do a series of 10 paintings, do a series of 20 paintings, whatever it might be, but do enough to see if you're bored with it, if it excites you. If you're bored with it by the 5th painting, you probably don't want to do that series anymore. But if you're unsure, just keep going. You'll figure it out. It'll come to you once you get to that 10th, 20th painting. And other things will get figured out as you do that. You'll figure out a little bit more about your style. You'll figure out more about the colors you like to use. Be consistent with trying something for a little bit. If you don't like it, jump to another theme or another series and see how that goes. Okay, number 7, seek feedback. This one's very tricky because I take maybe 1 out of 20 things that people say to me as far as feedback goes. And it very much depends on who's giving me that feedback too. If it's somebody that's a family or friend, they'll really not give me anything too constructive. They usually say, "Oh, I love it. It's so great. Just keep doing it." Those are the people you ignore. Ignore those people. Find the people that are actually really critical, and those people are going to be the ones that actually help you. Find other artists that are critical of your work, that will tell you things honestly, that will hurt your feelings. The ones that can hurt your feelings, stick with those people. Those are the ones you want to hear feedback from. Number 8, artistic influence. I think this is a good one. Don't be afraid to take cues from other artists. Number 9, consistency. I already touched on this a little bit, but the one that ChatGPT is talking about here is being consistent with your practice. Make sure that you're painting all the time, and this is absolutely critical. There are times where I paint day after day for weeks on end with just a couple days break on the weekends usually, and my practice just starts flourishing. It starts progressing so much faster. But if you only paint once a week or twice a week even, it's not going to be enough. Paint a little bit every day if you can, or think about your artwork every day. Find any moment you can to paint, because the consistency is going to help you develop your particular voice and make you think about what your voice should be. Okay, now the final one is stay open-minded. This one is very critical, I think. The older we get, the more our minds want to close off. I don't know if you've noticed this, but adults or people that are older than us, or I mean, I'm 44, so I'm right in the middle, but people that are older than me, I see people that get more and more closed-minded to where they don't get curious about anything anymore. They're just locked in their ways. They don't want to learn anything new. Don't be one of those people. Stay open-minded. That way your art will grow. Very self-explanatory, I know, but just try to stay curious, and that will help you with your goals of finding a unique voice. All right, that was all 10. Now, really quick reminder, if you want to check out my Patreon page, lots of great tutorials on there to help you with your oil painting practice, especially portraits. Thank you so much for checking out another video. I will talk to you artist studs once again next week.